tell me about how things are going here with the protest.
I think they're going great. You know, when we started this thing 6 months ago, we didn't know if we'd get 100 people or 1,000 people or what we get, and we've had several thousand every day. It's growing steadily. We're doing a lot of people going off the plaza do resistance actions at various places. They did the White House today, they did the Federal Reserve, a couple other spots, and the National Security Agency. And so there's been a lot of nice mix of stuff, and the police have been treating us pretty well. We had a little problem at the Air and Space Museum yesterday, but that's not the real police. That was a private police force that wasn't very well trained with a pepper spray incident, which you can see video on October2011.org. But generally, they're doing pretty well. If you look around, you'll see tents and sleeping bags. Some of the food that we're doing is not in compliance with the permit, so we're out of permit compliance. We have been for days, and they've not been closing us down. Our permit runs out tonight. We're having a big dance party tonight to celebrate the permit running out and our freedom to assemble without any infringement by Congress. And so it'll be a fun party.
So what's happening tomorrow?
There's a whole series of off-campus events again, focused on Treasury and Congress, and details to be announced at the appropriate moment.
Is there a central location that you guys are going to be out of after today?
This is the. We're going to stay here.
I'll stay here.
We're going to stay here and don't plan to leave.
Just, but you won't have a permit.
That's right.
So you think they'll force you out?
I don't think so. My sense is that the reaction from the public's been very positive. The reaction from the media's been very positive. Even the corporate media has been reporting, saying good things about us. And I love the Washington Post did an article where the reports how she's coming down here. The taxi driver and everybody else she talks to supports what we're doing. I think the economic insecurity of Americans has gotten so severe that they're really ready. People are really ready for this kind of change. They see the dysfunction of government, nothing else working. They saw it work in Tahrir Square in Egypt. They saw it in Madison. They know that this is a tactic that now seems to be working.
It looks like we were here a couple days ago, and it looks like this has expanded quite a bit since then. Can you talk about that?
Yes, it's constantly expanding. I mean, when you were here a couple days ago, there were probably a few less people, but we have more people, and none of the tents in the center were up that people were sleeping in. So that's all new. There's some large displays in back shanty towns that weren't up before, so it's become bigger and bigger. And we're getting lots of people watching us on live stream. We're getting lots of Twitter hits. People are very aware of this, and I think we're going to see some kind of solidification of the encampment this week.
One of the things I noticed, and it seems to be happening here and with Occupy Wall Street, and you compare it to what happened in Tahrir Square in Egypt, was that initially it was kind of asking about big issues, stop the corruption or whatever, and then people started focusing on individuals who have been key folks in corrupting the system, and they demanded that those people be sacked, and so gradually in the Mideast you saw, for example, they sacked the head of the security forces in Egypt, pretty quickly, thinking that maybe that would placate the protesters. And I noticed today here you've got some people saying that that maybe they should prosecute Clarence Thomas and prosecute Tom Donahue and the Koch brothers and some of these real
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch. Some of these people that have really poisoned the atmosphere and have been responsible for a lot of the things that have been happening. Can you comment on that a little bit?
Well, we call it Stop the Machine, and so we're generally not focused on individuals, but there are some individuals who are, I'd call, corrupting influences. I think Murdoch, through his media outlets, Fox News, New York Post, Wall Street Journal, and others, is one of those corrupting influences, and he's been now caught breaking the law in Great Britain with bribery, which makes him a violator of the law, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act in the United States. There's no question he should be prosecuted. And I think that he should certainly, the investigation we know is ongoing, and so we'd like to see that kind of thing happen. Other people, I think, on the list would be Timothy Geithner, the Treasury Department. The economy's been totally mishandled. Obama's insufficient stimulus, his massive bailouts of the banks, while not bailing out Wall Street, his inability to stop the foreclosure crisis from slowing. I think there's some real problems with the way Treasuries handle things, and I think Obama should take some action to correct that. So there will be individuals held accountable, but I think what we're doing is building something that's going to be bigger than individuals. It's going to be we're not focused on the 2012 elections. We see the election system is so corrupted. We're not going to focus on that, but we are focusing on building an independent movement that will hold both parties accountable. And when criminals violate the law, whether they're bankers, media, or Supreme Court justices, they should be held accountable. We have to start to understand this country that one reason why we're in this deep trouble, the deep corruption, is because the rule of law is not enforced against those who have power. The rule of law should apply to everybody. Whether you're a torturer, whether you're a common criminal, whether you're a Supreme Court justice, whether you're someone being judged by a court, you should be held accountable for violations of law. The rule of law is not something that some people can obey and others not. So holding Clarence Thomas accountable would be a big step to show that signal that the rule of law applies to all.
Two of the people, I saw signs today targeting the Koch brothers and Karl Rove, and it seems like both of those guys are involved with using massive amounts of secret money to corrupt the elections. And I think that's a big complaint here. Can you go into that a little bit more?
Well, the whole election system is a big complaint here. We have a very money-based election system, and getting the money out of politics really needs to be a goal of this movement, I think. And in our front page, we have a story about 7 issues that supermajorities of Americans agree on. One of those is getting money out of politics, because the corrupting influence is so dramatic. The Koch brothers are a problem. Karl Rove is a problem. There's no question those are aspects of it. But even President Obama is a problem. He's going out there holding fundraisers for $38,500 per event. That's more than the individual median income of Americans. So someone who earns the median income could not afford to go to an Obama fundraiser if he or she took all of his income for the year and tried. They wouldn't have enough money. So we have a lot of work to do on getting the money out of politics and reducing the corruption of politics. I think the easy place to stop is to start dealing with these anonymous contributions, these nonprofits circumventing election law, and really requiring contractors and others to report where they're giving money to politically. So we get this out in the open, put the light of the sunshine on it so people can see what's going on, and that's a step in the right direction of getting money out of politics. We need to really move to get money out of politics, period.
All right, now getting to the movement here, it seems like it's growing exponentially across the country. I mean, hundreds of chapters are springing up in cities that you wouldn't even think of them. And I mean, how long do you see this going before it actually reaches a tipping point where things start changing?
Well, we got into this mess of corporate rule over decades. It was not an easy, quick process. It was a gradual process of taking over not just government and courts, but media and TVs, newspapers, radio, think tanks, universities, journals. It's been a gradual process of getting all the organs of policymaking under corporate control. So it's a big knot to untie. And so I think what's going to come out of these occupations is an independent movements whose goal is going to be end corporate rule. And you know what our one demand is? It's end corporate rule. It's a really pervasive demand in that it affects so many aspects of our lives. That indicates how much corporate power there is in this country. And so I think that's where this movement is going. We're going to an ongoing effort to build an independent movement with our own independent media, and probably down the road our own independent electoral organizations to end corporate rule.
All right, thank you, Kevin Zeese. Appreciate it, and we'll look forward to see how things get going.
Thanks a lot.
Right.